I really don't know how exactly to start this. I'm speaking so quietly because it's like after midnight and my wife is trying to sleep because she's got to work in the morning. I will not be going to work in the morning. Um, I lost a family member today. I lost one of my cousins. His name is JT. It's been a really hard day. And if I end up posting this video anywhere, it's going to be called "Here's the Thing About Alcoholism." I've talked about it on my podcast before, Morning Cup of Joe podcast. I've got an episode on my father being an alcoholic where I kind of talk about some things that I witnessed, things that I learned growing up with an alcoholic father, and just kind of some of the trauma that stays with me to this day in regards to that. And I'm trying to I'm trying to live out my dream of being a meteorologist, and I'm living out that dream. Living in Atlanta. I'm from Iowa. I haven't been able to be home much at all over the last several years. So, but losing family is still losing family at the end of the day. I don't think me not being home all that much and not seeing JT all that much over the last 5, 6, 7 years kind of changes that. Still family. And I still loved him and the time that I had with him. And here's the thing about alcoholism. JT, from growing up, time and all the time that I was able to see him, hang out with him, talk with him at family get-togethers, growing up and into my college years as well. There's a big heart in there. There's a big heart. There was a good heart in there with JT. Same thing with my dad. There's a big heart and there was a good heart in there. People knew that. There was a mutual respect that people had for my dad. And I'm sure there were many people that had a respect for JT. Talking on the phone with my mom when she called me to break that news to me that he had died this morning. Not only did I hear from my mom about his struggles with alcohol over the past couple of years, but also finding out the way that he died was incredibly similar to the way that my dad died. And I think that's partly why it has hit so hard for me today and why it hurts and weighs on my heart so much. I think that's why. I'm sure I'm not very far off in that. It's just kind of the way trauma can work. Thank God I have therapy tomorrow. Technically today because it's past midnight, but anyway, thank God I've got therapy because I need it at the moment. So back to the title of the video. Here's the thing about alcoholism. You look at it on the outside and you see a waste. You see kind of a waste of a life. It's kind of easy to see addiction that way, whether it's drugs, alcohol, could be anything. You see it as kind of a waste of a life, a waste of potential, a waste of a father, a waste of a cousin, a waste of an uncle. But I can't see it that way. Now, there are some people that just never got the help they needed. There are some people that never sought the help that they needed. And there are people that needed the help and wanted the help, needed love and wanted love, and never got it. Now, I only say this in terms of what I know and what I can imagine when it comes to my dad. My dad loved me. My dad loved my mom very, very much. My dad loved my friends, our family friends, our neighbors, people that I grew up with. He loved all of them. And sorry. I would imagine that as my dad kept drinking, he would hate himself. He would hate himself for what he was doing. He would hate himself for how he was handling his pain, how he was handling the demons that he was trying to fight. I can imagine he hated himself. I can also imagine that he didn't know how to fix it. And the only way to take away that pain of hating himself was to drink more. I also learned some other things about what JT was doing. And before I move on to JT, I want to say that my heart hurts a lot for his wife, his daughters. My heart hurts a whole hell of a lot for them because of the things that I know that they probably witnessed, because of what my mom shared with me and what I know. My heart hurts so much for them because of these just very tainted and very stained memories that are probably going to be with them for quite a long time. It's a trauma that hits you and doesn't go away if you don't deal with it. I know that. I lived it. I hit a rock bottom in my life because I didn't deal with the trauma. So I hope my family, in that regard, I hope they find peace and get some healing throughout the next several years, however long it takes. They're strong people. I know they'll get through it and they'll be okay. But that doesn't change the fact that my heart pains for what I know they're feeling. I mentioned a little bit ago, talking about the heart. A good heart, a good soul. There's a good person in there. here's the way that I see alcoholism. I see it as not just an addiction, but a disease that becomes an endless cycle that, if not dealt with and not worked really freaking hard at, will continue that cycle. You might be wondering what that cycle is. It's the cycle of trying to deal with pain, whatever it may be from. It doesn't even matter what it's from. So you turn to alcohol. Why? Because I think in their mind that numbs that pain, that takes it away. Hell, there may have even been days, I know there were days for my dad where alcohol was the only way he could make it through the day mentally. I'm sure JT had those days. And I know some of my family members, my uncles, tried talking to him. And I know they said, you're going down the same path that Bob went down. Bob was my dad. You don't want to go down that path. Here's the thing, JT and my dad both probably heard those things, heard them, but it didn't change anything in here. Now notice where I'm pointing. I'm pointing at the head, pointing at the brain. Probably didn't make it in there. Pain was in here. And I'm just guessing. And I feel like I've got a good just base knowledge of these things, having witnessed it all. They drink. They do something that's out of character. They do something that's not them. At their base, at their foundation of their soul, the foundation of their heart, they do something that's not them. So they drink again. They wake up hungover, hating themselves, throwing up. The pain's back. And now there's even more pain because they know what they did the day before. Whether that's abuse, anger, doesn't matter. They know what they did before. They don't know how to fix that. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to be accountable for that being that hurtful to the people that they love. So what happens? They crack open a beer. They open a bottle of whiskey. They drink. They do something that's out of character, that's not them. They hate themselves. They wake up hungover. They drink again. It's a cycle. Every day, it's a cycle until it becomes what they are. It becomes a normality. This is what they do. And that breaks my fucking heart. That breaks my heart so much. So here's the thing, you guys out there, you may have someone in the family that has struggled with alcohol. And if you do, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. But I want to share something personal with you. You guys probably don't know, and I could probably go on for a long time of the things that I have seen with my alcoholic father who passed away when I was 12 years old. The amount of things that I saw out of him. But here's the thing, at his core, I know how much he loved me. I know how much he cared about me. I know how much he loved my mom. I know how much he cared about my mom. As much as he may have mistreated her during his highest points of alcoholism, during his worst moments, I hate that my mom was mistreated by him. I hate that. I hate that for my mom. My mom doesn't deserve that. She never did deserve that. She was just doing her best, trying to navigate this disease that my dad was going through, kicking him in and out of the house, sending him to hotels, him ending up in rehab, my mom trying to take us to go visit him in rehab. Sometimes there was even a time where I remember when he didn't, like, he almost didn't want to see us because it almost hurt too much, because he knows how much it hurt us, what he was doing. So he almost couldn't bear seeing us, if that makes any sense. And it might sound so ridiculous, but deep down, my dad was a good man. He was. Deep down, I know my cousin JT was a good man. Now, it doesn't forgive the things that he did, but even through all our mistakes, we still deserve love, don't we? Don't we? Here's the thing about alcoholism. It takes away the good person that exists in there and replaces it with what develops as the person that drinks all the time. Alcoholism takes that good foundation, that good person away, and replaces it until they heal, until they work really freaking hard to try and come back from it. Alcoholism replaces that. And I'm sure there's a lot of you that could make the argument that, well, the person that I know that was an alcoholic wasn't a good person to begin with. Okay, fine. That may be the case. I am speaking solely to my dad and my cousin, who I have now lost. I've now lost 3 cousins and my dad, all on my dad's side of the family. 2 of them, my dad and now JT, were alcoholics. Both good men, deep down. Both men that deserve, at least in some degree, to be remembered by the love that they gave to their family, how much they cared about their family, and the good times that we were all able to have with them. That doesn't mean all the shit that they put us through. and that I'm sure JT put his family through. Not that it needs to be forgotten and thrown out the window, because it's not how this works. But I think something in today's world that is a big problem is that it's one or the other. In too many ways, in too many situations, it seems as though it's one way or the other way. It never seems like two things can be true at once. But I think in this situation, and I'm sure with many situations when it comes to alcoholism, two things can't be true at the same time. They can be good people, because they were good people. They had big hearts. They had good hearts. That can be true, for one. The second thing that can be true is that they did a lot of shitty things while they drank. They made a lot of mistakes while they drank. They hurt a lot of people while they drank, verbally or physically. That also can be true. But they both can be true at the same time. Got the person deep down that is always there, in my opinion. And then you've got the person that alcoholism replaces that person with. They both can be true at the same time. And that's the thing about alcoholism.